And up next, the topic is transforming procurement process, choosing smart path. And for the same, I would like to introduce the speaker. Mr. Ruchir Shrivastava is a dynamic business leader with a holistic background. He's been a pioneer leading a 400 million business unit at a young age and driving efficiencies across commercial functions, including procurement, international market, and logistics. He chaired product advisory committees at Multi-Commodity Exchange, National Stock Exchange, and spearheaded innovative projects, including the groundbreaking FASTag-based integrated truck management mega project, resulting in significant savings and efficiency gains. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Ruchir Shrivastava, Director Procurement, Key Commodities and Services at Vedanta Limited.
So am I audible? Good morning. So the topic here, which is very close to my heart, is transformation of the procurement scenario and building something for the company instead of just being a small department somewhere. So at the risk of sounding like a life consultant, repeat after me: change is the only constant. Repeat till the time you internalize it. I mean, it's the only constant. And procurement is changing. So procurement as a function, when it started many years back, it was there to support the company with a lot of paperwork, and not just the material, but people used to have EMDs, tenders, a lot of paperwork, sealed envelopes coming in. That is changing. And it is changing for good. The priorities. I mean, remember, if some of you were there probably 10-15 years back in the procurement space, there was a lot of technical work or paperwork which was required, and that was the main function of the department. There were a lot of suppliers coming into your desk, giving your paper submissions, giving envelopes and pages full, files and files full of documents. Then there will be EMDs, there will be a lot of banking documents which were coming in, and that was the priority at that point in time. Let us see now what is the priority and how it has changed. So now the talks have shifted to generative AI, they have shifted to scope 3 emissions. There are specialists everywhere. So the questions now being discussed are: do we insource, do we outsource, do we make, do we buy, do we invest, do we lease? What are the things which we have to do? So these are the ones which are generally the talks of the town right now. I mean, we have also come much ahead of the automations, like let us say RFQ going out digitally, or probably a reverse auction happening. I mean, now we are into a much more advanced kind of a discussion wherein we are saying that how can ChatGPT or generative AI help me in the procurement space? And as the last session Seema was discussing, that whether the function gets eliminated or whether it stays is something which is the kind of discussion which every department is having. Not just commercial, but let us say finance or HR. This generative AI is helping everyone and also posing a threat to their existence. Hence, the need to transform. So if we keep on sticking to the old ways of working, if we keep on sticking to the age-old methods, then it becomes difficult. But if we need and if we transform, then it becomes much more easier for everyone and we become a value creator for the company. Now, a classic case: human intelligence or artificial intelligence. I mean, that has been the talk of the town, but how do you choose one? So, as all of you probably already know, I will just repeat what McKinsey says. Generative AI is something which has algorithms and which can help us create content as per our requirement. So it could be text, it could be emails, it could be documents, it could read a lot of documents, come out with some suggestions, some with its own recommendations. But is it useful? I mean, we have had multiple discussions and probably a few months back, everybody was talking about ChatGPT as if that is the only thing and that will be there, nobody else will be there. But it depends. It depends on how the questions are framed, what you ask the system. I mean, it's just another system. What you ask it, that is how it will respond to your answers, and it will depend whether it has that kind of data or whether it is goofing up. So, how much data it is trained on is something which is very, very important to know before you ask some questions. There are also many controllable and uncontrollable factors on which it responds to you. So, just an example, this is a New York Times news article from May 23, very recent. And what has happened was, somebody put up some created image of one of the prominent buildings in USA to be attacked by an aircraft. And that is how that spoof rattled the market. Let me show you. That graph on the right, you see it has tanked like anything. So their stock markets crashed because of a technology driven spoof which somebody played, and people lost real hard cash. So it all depends on what you ask the system, how you modulate your systems, how do you, when to trust and when not to trust. So then what do we do? Do we completely put it aside and go on with our manual methods? So caution needs to be exercised. You have to have an experience and you have to know what that system is responding to you, whether that is right or wrong, whether that is applicable or not. Models have to be tested. If the system needs retraining, you need to have more data, retrain the system, and then ask intelligent questions. But most basic point is use common sense with whatever it is responding. Does it appeal to your common sense? Does it appeal to your normal ways of working? Do you think that answer is right or not? That makes all the difference. So, a quote from Bill Gates, which I personally like a lot, is the first rule of technology is if you put it into an efficient automation system, efficiencies will increase. But if you put it on a wrong way or inefficient operation, then the inefficiencies increase. So, although we have all the knowledge in the world, we have all the technologies in the world, if you don't employ it rightly, then there's a problem. And then the systems might lead you to a wrong decision or a conclusion. So coming back to the procurement function, are we value creators or are we value destructors? There is a lot of time when procurement is being alleged to be a value loser because finance will come and say कि भाई पिछले साल तो तुमने X price में खरीदा था, अभी X plus 10% में खरीद रहे हो. So are you creating value or are you disrupting value? So if done properly within times and budgets, it's a value creation. But we need to move beyond that space. Procurement should not just remain a function in silos. We have to make the organization succeed. If we are thinking ahead, if we are using all the technologies, if we are trying to think what is coming next and keeping your internal, external stakeholders informed and happy, the success of organization depends on you. So again, sounding like a life coach, but then success of your organization really depends on the procurement function. You can make or break. We can create the future. So I would not really like to stretch my discussion too long. I can go on and on, but then my only take is let us pledge to think forward. Let us shape a better future. So if you think forward, you can have a lot of technologies coming your way. You can modulate it to your real use and you can then shape your company's future. Not the other way around. So the existential threat which is generally coming out from let us say all these technologies coming in, the same existential threat came in when probably some automation of reverse auctions came in, the automation of RFQ came in. But we overcame that, we advanced, we became much more learned people, and now the things are much more in control, in shape, data is on the table, you can analyze with a lot of technologies. So the only thing is, as a procurement community, as a real stakeholder of the company, let us pledge to think forward and shape a better future. So although we still have time, I will probably want to interact more with you and have some more questions from you. And if there are no questions, I have more slides. So better future is something which is effectively usable for the company. There will be n number of technologies, we'll have to be selective of which technology to be used, which can add value to the company, which can grow your business, which can really add to the top dollar.
So the research says the 88% that this transformation process are free.
Obviously.
How we determine that is the better?
So it is all dependent upon what the company wants and where it wants to go. If you have 10 different initiatives taking in, probably 8 out of 10 will fail. But if those 2 strike, then it can strike gold. So it depends on what the company wants, where it wants to invest. But as a procurement team, you will have to suggest, because you are with the external stakeholders and with the internal stakeholders as well. So you interact both sides. You know what your company wants, you know what your external world is going into. And you have to be a bridge to bring both of them together.
But one is the initiation, one is the success.
Obviously.
There are 2 different milestones. Right?
Obviously.
While you interact with the people, it is an initiation. Right?
Yes.
You cannot anticipate what is going forward and what is the end result to be. And what we talking about the success might be a 3-year or 6-year or 5-year, whatever, it's a long term, short term, whatever it is.
It could
So
be
how-
short term, it could be long term, yes.
So what is the most critical method to select a proper, whether transformation process partners or technology partner, because every day there is new technology is coming. So
Actually.
nobody can say what you select is older technology and now is the new
Yeah.
So that's a major challenge, because TC alone cannot be decided, techno-commercial or procurement cannot be decided. All the stakeholders, the organizations are decided, and what is the proper model, it has to be very deeply analyzed and not just to jump in and take it decisions.
Obviously, I agree. So try and fail could be one model, research extensively and try could be another model. I mean, it all depends on the company culture. There are various companies who work on a different model altogether. But you are right, I mean, yes, I mean, there are 2 probably successes, but we have to concentrate on those 2 successes and make them better. Yeah.
Relevant topic today for all this AI and the new technologies are coming in the procurement space.
Thank you.
But the same time, as you are working in a large conglomerate in the large business house, wherein bringing the synergies are very important many a times.
Yeah.
So the way the technology is evolving, and it is very rapidly now. So the way the iPhone versions are coming in every year, the same way these technologies are also coming.
Yeah.
So by the time all the stakeholder and the procurement functions, embrace all these changes, and the same time the new technology is coming in.
Yeah.
So do you have any thought and how to address those issues and how to make it, because for the small business, a small function, it's quite easy to adopt and
Yeah.
immediately implement.
Yeah.
But in the context of the big business and synergy, my question is especially focused on that.
So that's a very good question, and you're absolutely right that there are new technologies coming in, there are new technology players coming in every day, and everybody will have some flavor or the other which is different from the others. And the key to the success is to listen to everybody. First, understand who is proposing what, and let us go down deep with our questions, with our practical scenarios. I mean, there are certain things which look good on theory, They are working well in some other industry. But can that thing fit in my industry? Can that thing fit in my local scenario? Obviously, I would also have to change a little bit to become better, but then that piece of software or that technology, does it really fit my landscape? And then probably out of 5 or 10 or 15, you select 2 or 3 and invest in that. And once you invest in that, you have to commit to that. I mean, it has to be such a passion that मैं करूँगा तो अब यही करूँगा, इसी रास्ते चलना है. There has to be no two ways about it, and that also needs your management sponsorship. If the management has a buy-in, if the management has a conviction, then the technologies will go forward.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Ruchir.
Yep.
Rohan this side. So, like we have technology and all the tools for maybe for every aspect of procurement.
Yeah.
Like from costing, RFQs,
Obviously.
supplier management, their risk assessments.
Yeah.
So, what you feel, or like working into a commodity industry, what you feel should be a chronology or a series? How do we really serialize this? Like what should be our priorities?
So as a commodity industry, I mean, we've been experimenting a lot. I mean, we experiment more than probably most of the other companies. We get into all the technologies, we hear everyone, we try and test a lot of technologies, get POCs done, and then, I mean, there's no serial this thing. I mean, once your management is convinced of a way to take, then all the other things come step by step. So for an example, in commodity industry, let me take you 2-3 slides forward. So I had certain things, but I did not keep it. But procurement in commodities is based on technicalities. It has to be very, very technical. It has to be very, very specific to the requirements. So let me give you a use case of the truck management system. We have around 800 to 1000 trucks coming in at our plant locations every single day. And it was a humongous effort earlier when everybody was writing registers after registers of what is coming in, who's the driver, who's the truck number, their licenses, their RC cards, whatever, and then way bridges, a lot of stuff. What we did was we took a decision to automate all that thing, and this is somewhere around 5-6 years back when we did this. We said, let us start with manless way bridges. That was an unheard concept at that point in time. Nobody was willing, even internally, nobody was willing to remove manpower from the way bridges. But we had the management together, we did that. Then we said, क्यों register भरना है बाहर बैठ के? We went on to RFIDs and then went to NPCI, asked them their source code of fast tags, and synced it with fast tags much before the fast tags were very, very prominent across the country. So those are the kind of things which the management has to think for the future and for the people. And once you get behind the technology, you will have to bring your entire company together and make it a success. At this point in time, today, if I were to go to my plant and say कि भाई system बंद कर रहा हूँ, कल से register भरने हैं, लोग मानेंगे नहीं. लोग नहीं मानेंगे. जब ये सिस्टम लगाया था तब बड़े सारे क्वेरीज थे, कैसे होगा जी, हमारी जॉब का क्या होगा, सिस्टम का क्या होगा. लोग सिस्टम लगाने के बाद में भी रजिस्टर भर रहे थे कुछ दिन तक कि सर डुप्लीकेशन कर रहा हूं मगर पता नहीं सिस्टम सही बोल रहा है कि नहीं. आज की तारीख में लोग तैयार ही नहीं है सिस्टम के अलावा काम करने.
So similar to what you said, how about like when you talk of data-driven decisions and on terms of booking the commodities and the such type of fluctuation? So how are you taking care of it in terms of commodities?
So basically commodities is something which has traditionally been person dependent kind of stuff. I mean, there are traders, there are big players who want to control the entire market, but with the advent of technology, now even a one-ton supplier or a one-ton customer can come to the portal and register himself, offer his supplies or take his supplies. So currently we are into an e-commerce mode wherein all our commodities are sold online. Everything which was sold at depots, at plants earlier, and there were a sizable lots which we had to sell because of economies of scale. Now we have opened our channels for even a ton of metal. People come in with their own small trucks and take it there. they book it online, they finalize that online, pick a date, choose a place of their choosing online, and take it. So things have transformed. Okay. All right, thank you.
Ruchir, just 1 second.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Good morning. My name is Shikhar, and I'm representing Orange Business, which is a French IT and network service provider.
Yeah.
So I just would like to share one thought and one question to you.
Yeah.
So in the opening slide, you mentioned about human intelligence versus artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to share one of the example which in my function it is being followed. So in the procurement, normal practices, at entry level or the mid level analyst or the specialist who actually execute the procurement. So they have the habit of, the rolling out the RFQ
Yeah.
to the few handful of the vendors. There might be the 10 vendors or the carriers who can, support you in the business, but it's the human tendency, okay, I know only 2, 3 this, okay, let's roll out.
Absolutely.
So that's where the challenge was, we were observing the repetitive orders were being given to the vendors, despite the challenges of, the fluctuating pricing, the lead time and everything. So with the help of AI, what we did, we designed a solution wherein the machine learning models were deployed and the Power BI acted as a front end. We provided rule-based scoring. Okay, this vendor, last 6-month business, this is the average pricing for this part, okay, and this is the risk element, and this is the feedback, and this is the average lead time.
Yeah.
So that really helped. Now what my guys are doing, they simply just, pitch in the part request, what needs to be procured in the context of ID, based on the country and the combination, it throws the output. So the point which I intend to conclude, behind building this artificial intelligence, it was actually the human intelligence which coded everything, that how I'm thinking, and it should not be manipulated or the biased one.
Wonderful.
So that's the one example. And the question which I intend to ask,
Yeah.
recently in the market we have been following the news that Vedanta is heading towards demerger
Yeah.
of its different LOBs.
Yeah.
So I assume so far whatever the AI practices you have been following in your organization must be in an integrated way.
Yeah.
So here onwards, how you think will be the way forward within the Vedanta when everything will be demerged or separated out? So what will be the strategy to handle that change?
So, good question, not the right forum for me to talk about it, but then a brief answer is that demerger will unlock value. So, all the processes which are good will become better, and all the processes which are probably there in some of the BUs, some of the companies don't have it, they will adopt that and move for the growth. So, I mean, processes will become better and not for the worse. So these things will remain. Automation and everything will still remain the focus. The ESG, the automation, those are the focus, and those will remain the focus.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Can we take the question?
So actually time's up, so sorry sir, and we can continue the question in the networking break. We are up next, we have networking break, and thank you for the in-depth talk, and I'm sure many of us were intrigued by your thoughts. Let's have a huge round of applause for Mr. Ruchir Shrivastava.
Thank you.
And I would request Mr. Prasad Yadav, Director Global Procurement Intelligence, kindly join us on stage for felicitation.